why the payment is negative here and it's positive here.
Because one is from the bank's perspective and the other one's from your perspective.
And it's always nice if whatever I formatted, whenever I format dollars, I want to do it as currency, and I want to do it as special format and specify it in such a way that I will see it in the opposite case. One is when you take the loan and the other is when you give the loan. Is this clear?
Yes.
And it's fair if whatever you get and whatever I pay is exactly the same. Right? And we go to the main question now. What I want you to do. I want to take that case, copy it and paste, and go to the next columns. And if one gives you lower rate, 7%, but more points, 3 percentage points, and the other one gives you less points and higher rate, and the other one gives you more points and lower rate, because we compete. Who is giving you the better deal?
It's all throughout 10 years.
For the same period of time. Who is giving you the better deal? This is one thing I want you to be able to clear on yourself. And I go to the next point that it's not in the book. Whatever I say to you, whatever I just said, it's in the book.
So would the answer to that be whichever would give you the least amount of payments per year?
Fine,
That's whichever bank is giving you the best rates?
fine. I take that case and I want to see two different scenarios. The same amount for the same periods. I mark it. The same amount for the same period. And I want to see case A. And I want to see case B. And I want to see case C. Case A is what you have here. Is 1.5 being the points and 8% being the rate. I mark it. Then I go on to the second case. I have less points and I have higher rate. Or I have more points and I have lower rate. Among these three different alternatives, which one is the one that is better for you? Because this is what you want really to do. You want to shop you out. And the one that you want to do it is where you pay less money and when you get more money. Can you use the internal rate of return to evaluate these three different alternatives? Good. I haven't seen any textbook to say that, but this is actually what actually happens. And I want to see how you will use the internal rate of return to make the comparison of all these cases. Same money for the same period. And we change the case. Why we want to compete. And what we want to compete is what is happening in that particular case. I'm going to give it to you. Do you want it in a next exam or for the final exam?
Next is
Next exam, but not in final.
And if you do it in the next exam, you can be able to do it in the final. If you do it in the next exam in years, in the final, you can be able to calculate it in months. And I'm going to go to something else that it's not in any book that I know, but this is the case that you actually have in reality. I'll take that information and I condense it. And I go on to see what is in the reality. I want you to focus on these numbers, right? I want you to focus on these numbers. But when you want to buy a house, the number that you really know and you have to start is not how much money you need for a loan, but you know how much money is the cost of the house. This is what you have. So Victor got the diamond. And after he got the diamond, he got the lady and he got the kids. And after he got the kids start going to school and he got a job. And then he makes a decision. It does not pay to have rental cost. You paid and nothing stays for you. And Victor goes on and says, I'm gonna buy a house. Some who are in Queens, some who are in Brooklyn, a 2-family house. And he decides to buy a house that is $750,000. Why he wants that house? Because he wants to stay for free. He wants to rent 1 floor and go on with whatever he gets from rent. He needs to pay all the expenses. He needs to pay the loan back, and at the end to keep the house. And he goes with any of the 3 alternatives that he figures out better for him. And that's his choice. He needs to go on and say, yeah, I took finance, I got an A in finance, and now I'm putting that into reality. That's why he gets the finance. So what he wants to do is, he goes out to 3 banks. And the question is, how much is going to be the amount of the loan that he has? And how much each bank will charge him as points. So what I want you to do is I want you to be real. If I want you to be real, I'll condense that information and I'll expand this information. Now this is the amount of money that is the house. I put it in a wrong place. No, I put it in the right place. This is the amount of money that is the house. What I need to do, I need to insert a line here. No, I don't need. I need to have insert a line here, and I need to find out what is happening with me, right? We said $250,000, right?
Yes.
That's the amount of the house. In all of these cases, he needs to find out what is happening with that particular case. In all the cases, that's 100%. That is 100%, and this is 100%. But in all cases, the amount of money that he gets is different. This is the split that he has in percentages. He wants to find out what is happening in all cases. He needs another split. That split is going to be in dollars. In all case, here we lock it for the column. In all cases, he is financing the same house. But as he is financing the same house, he needs to pay different amount for points. As he pays different amount of points, he gets more money for himself in that option. And this is the option that probably he would be more interested on, because that option tells him what? It's going to be less amount of money that he's going to pay to the bank, and I want to fill up the area here, and I want to fill up the area in dollars, so I would know how much you will be able to do it. My question is, we did it here. Can you do the process the same way, but moving from a different point of view to a different point of view? Here we started for the total amount of the loan, and then I want you to be able to start from the amount that you have available. What do I have? I have to save it. And if I have to save it, I want to think about points of a loan. I'm going to send it to you. And I want you to move and do exactly the same thing that we did here. But I want you to do it from a different starting point. Do you have brains? Yes or no? And if this is the case, I want to be more realist. I'm done in 1 second, okay? This is years, and I go on and do the other case in months. And I want to do the same thing monthly. But when you buy a house, you don't get a loan for 10 years, you get a loan for 20 years, 25 years, 18 years. And you don't pay in once a year, you pay once a month. Can you give me homework that you will have that done on your own before next time? If you can do it, I'll ask you the same question for the exam next time. And if you do it, I want you to calculate in option A, B, and C the internal rate of return. And as you calculate the internal rate of return, I want you to give me a reasoning. Which option is better, A, B, or C, in terms of the value of your money and the internal rate of return? What do you use? You use the dollar, or you use the percentage criteria to do it. And if you do that stuff, you're going to